the most popular programming languages used today, making it a highly valuable skill. Over the course of these lessons, you will gain a theoretical and practical understanding of this language, and you don't even need to have a background in programming to get started. If you're looking to become a software engineer or developer, you will greatly benefit from this course. Today, you will get an introduction to this language, including a practical demo on installation of what is needed to write code and writing a simple script. So, what exactly is Python? Python is a general-purpose interpreted, interactive, object-oriented, and high-level programming language. But there's no need to panic. All of these terms will be clearly explained below. Between 1985 and 1990, the Python programming language was created by Guido van Rossum at the National Research Institute for Mathematics and Computer Science in the Netherlands. The initial version 1.0 was released in the year 1991 at the Outsources News Group. Then, Python 2.0 was released in the year 2000. And the subsequent versions 2.x were released up until December 2008. From here, Python version 3.0 was released. And an end-of-life date for Python version 2 was set, and Python version 2 would no longer be maintained by the Python development team. The end-of-life date for version 2 was on the 1st of January 2020, and now only Python version 3 will be maintained. Did you know the creator of Python programming language was a big fan of Monty Python's Flying Circus at the time, and this was the inspiration behind the name. The latest versions of Python 2 and Python 3 are Python 2.7.15 and Python 3.6.5 respectively. Python 2 and Python 3 are very much similar. However, relatively small but significant changes were made in Python 3, which means in some instances, Python 2 and 3 versions may not be compatible. Learning or programming in Python 2 will not be a disadvantage at all, since it is seamlessly easy to dive in and program with Python 3. But it is advisable that one opts to program with Python 3 when they have a choice, since it is a maintained version. Python is free and open source. The source code is also available under the GNU General Public License, or GPL. The design philosophy of Python emphasizes code readability, and its syntax is easy to read and allows programmers to express their concepts in fewer lines of code compared to the C language. When it comes to the question of which computer programming language to adopt for teaching computer science students, the widely used criteria to evaluate this question is simplicity. To be taught as an introductory course, a language should be very simple and closer to natural language. A language closer to human language is readable and easier to be understood by a novice user. A language should provide a comprehensive set of constructs and APIs to be useful for general purpose as well as specific programming tasks. Reliability. A language should have good reliability. In particular, support for pointers, union, etc. should be discouraged. Additionally, support for assertions, error checking, and exception handling should be provided by the language so that abnormal conditions of the programming are properly taken care of by the programmers. Appropriate data structures. A language should have support for a variety of primitive data types and also have the provision to construct user-defined data types as needed. Availability or cost to students. The cost of the development platform should be low. Ideally, development tools, compilers, interpreters, and integrated development environment, IDE, should be freely available as open source tools. Market demand. It is recommended that the language being taught to computer science students should have high demand in the market. There should be appropriate jobs available for developers. Community support. The language should have documentation, tutorials, and community support and developer forums widely available. Operating system, OS machine limitations. The language should have minimum platform requirements. In particular, it should be easily able to run on common operating systems. Extensions or libraries available. The language should have extensions available in abundance for specific tasks, such as drivers for hardware interfacing, database connectivity APIs, parsers, GUI libraries, etc. Looking at these criteria points, they show that Python language fits the bill to be the language that should be first taught to the students. Hence, that is why Python is now becoming the widely used language lately. But why has Python grown so much? The introduction of big data, machine learning, and data science into the scientific and corporate communities has led to more people adopting Python as the preferred programming language. This is simply because Python syntax is easy to learn, and many scientific and academic communities prefer using the language. Also, Python has powerful libraries for some specializations. TensorFlow and scikit-learn for machine learning and big data, and pandas for data science as these are user-friendly. The interest in big data, machine learning, and data science has greatly increased the usage and popularity of Python, simply because of its user-friendly and powerful libraries in these fields. With an increased interest and focus in machine learning and big data around the world, there is also going to be an increase in people learning and adopting Python as their preferred language in these fields. Even experienced developers from other programming languages are starting to learn Python because of its powerful libraries in machine learning and big data. There is an increase in Python jobs around the world. In fields such as data science and machine learning, they require you to be at least proficient in Python. Since the language is growing in its popularity, there is also an increase in jobs for Python programmers. We're going to jump into a practical demo now. You will learn how to install Python and the IDE, the Integrated Development Environment. In today's session, we're going to be installing our Python programming language package, and we'll also be installing our IDE PyChart. Now, our IDE is essentially the environment in which we will write our code or script to give us an output. But first of all, we need to go ahead and download Python. And to do this, you can simply just Google Python. It should be the first result, if not the second one. And what you're looking for essentially is the download link. And then click on Downloads, and it will redirect you to this website over here, Python Dog. And it should take you to the downloads. And essentially, you can choose between a Windows install, a Linux install, as well as a Mac OS install. Now, that's the really awesome thing about Python. It's cross-platform compatible. In my case, I'm just going to click Download Python, and it's automatically going to detect which system I have. And I'm just going to head over to my Downloads folder. And what we have here is Python on my desktop. So I'm downloading Python 3.86. And the reason for this is because it's a stable build. And I'm just going to double click on that, run it, and I'm going to click on Install Now. But before I do that, what I also want to do is to make sure that I'm enabling this little option called Add Python 3.8 to Path. And this is quite important because this allows Python to access your path variables. And I'm just going to go in and click that and just install it. It should go pretty quickly. Now, once it has been successfully installed, you should receive a success message. I'm just going to close everything and it should be fine. And now what I need to do is I need to install PyCharm. And essentially, PyCharm is pretty much just as straightforward as in Python. You just need to navigate to PyCharm or Google PyCharm. It should be the first result I've ever had to click on this one over here. So this is hosted by Jetberg, which is quite popular for other IDEs as well. Now, as I mentioned before, downloading and installing PyCharm is pretty straightforward. We just head over to the download link and we want to install the Community Edition. The reason for this is that we do not necessarily want a paid license version of the Community Edition that has all the features that we need for the rest of this course. So I'm going to click Download. You could, if you wanted to, agree to the terms over here. I already have it downloaded on my machine, fortunately. So I'm going to cancel this and have this located on my desktop. So I'm going to run and install here. Commit to installing it, and I'm going to select the default directory over here because I'm running a 64-bit machine. And then I need to click the launcher that I want. It's a 64-bit launch. If you're running a 32-bit machine, then opt for the 32-bit or leave this unchecked. I'm going to make sure that my Update context menu is clicked as well. And I want to create the associations in terms of what kind of format does my IDE need to accept. And the extensions here is the DCPI or the Pi. And the last thing that I need to go and do is check the update path variable. Okay, now this will require me to restart my system, but in the event, just to avoid any future issues, it's always best to add your launches to your path variables. Okay, going to click Next, Install. Now, once the installation has been completed, you will be prompted to reboot your system now, or you can do it manually at a later stage. I'm going to opt for rebooting it right now. So, now that we've successfully rebooted our system, we can actually start playing around with PyCharm as well as Python. Next, we will learn how to create a simple Python script. Now that we've installed what you need, we're going to create a simple Hello World Py script. So let's just put it up, and I'm just going to say do not import settings for this particular part. And the reason I'm getting this prompt is because I had a previous version installed. So I'm going to say don't import settings because it's a fresh install. So once that's completed, you can then also choose the theme that you want to go for. You can opt for the light theme or for the dark theme. These days, it seems as though dark mode or dark theme is quite popular. So I'm going to stick with this one. And then I'm going to click Next over here. And I don't need any of these kits or plugins at the moment. We probably won't be using them for now or in this course. But that's the really nice thing about Python or PyCharm specifically, is that you can actually import existing packages, like AWS. I'm going to say start using PyCharm, and with everything being successful, I can now go ahead and start with my first project. I'm going to create a new project over here, and I can keep all these default settings, as the only thing that I want to change is my project name. And I'm going to call this one Hello World. And I'm going to say, well, this one is an empty sign, so you need to create a new one because it currently exists. And you'll see I'm getting this notifications at the bottom. So I'm going to call it Hello World 2. And that's going to create a new project space for me. Now I want to keep my environment using the virtual and the environment by default. This is pretty powerful and very popular. My base interpreter is essentially the Python package laying underneath PyCharm. Okay, and now I'm going to say create, and that will create my very first project. I'll give a little bit of time just to create an environment and all of those things. And you'll get a couple of tips that you can use every time you open up PyCharm. I'm just going to close this off for now, and I'm going to allow all of this to configure itself. It might uninstall a couple of things that already exist on my system, but don't worry about this. This is just something with my system because, again, I need to reiterate that I've used the software before. So now once everything is open up and running, you have your default main code over here, and you'll also have this file called main DCPI. Now, this is the entry point for running this code. And to run this, to see what happens, I can essentially just click on the play button over here at the top and my log at the bottom. This is what Now we will explore some platforms. Now we will explore some of the different platforms available for Python development. We will understand each of the platforms and what each one has to offer for Python development. So, let us quickly get started with this. So as you can see, the first platform here that we already have started with is the PyCharm IDE. So we can get this PyCharm from this website, which is jetbrains.com/PyCharm. And we can click on download for downloading on your local machine, as we've already seen before in this lesson. So we have this platform for different operating systems. That is Windows, Mac OS, Linux, and there are two editions, that is Professional and Community. And the Community edition is the free open source. So we have performed a basic Python program in this platform. So we are aware of this for now. So let us jump onto another platform, which is Kite. So for getting this Kite platform for Python development, we can just get it from kite.com. And as you can see, it's a free open source platform. So we have the download button here, and it says download for free. And it's for Windows operating system. So the key advantage of using this platform is that this platform gives out code suggestions while you're coding, as you can see here on the screen. So we get the code suggestions, and these are the AI-powered code completions offered by this Kite platform. So this feature makes us able to code faster in this platform. So as you can see, we have this comparison given on their website as without Kite and with Kite. So we get the code completion suggestions over here, as you can see. So this platform is mainly useful when we are dealing with machine learning in Python. That is, we are applying some algorithm to train data. So this will be a very helpful platform. And another platform that we're going to see here is Spider IDE. So for that, we will just type in Spider IDE. And as you can see the suggestion here. So this platform is useful as it offers both. That is the Python notebook feature and the Python terminal feature as well. And then some of the testing parts can also be performed using this platform. So as you can see, different features are available in this platform, which is Editor, IPython Console, Variable Explorer, and then we can also plot graphs, which will be useful for data visualizations. Then it also consists of a debugger. So the main plugins available, as you can see here, we have this Spider Notebook, as we have discussed, Spider Terminal, and then Spider Unit Test. So this is basically used for testing your code. So this is also a free platform available for Windows operating system. We have the download button for Windows, so just click on this and you can download this platform and get it installed on your local system. Now we will see another platform, which is IDLE-Python. And as you can see, we have to visit this following link to get this platform downloaded. So this is from the official python.org website. This is the documentation available to understand the features and functionality of IDLE for using Python. As you can see, if you visit this link, you can learn everything about it, like how we can start coding in Python using this IDLE platform. It's basically a Python shell window platform. So we have the shell editor here. Now, IDLE stands for Integrated Development and Learning Environment. It's a cross-platform which can be used on different operating systems like Windows, Unix, and Mac OS. And as you can see, the documentation here says that it can consist of two windows, that is shell and the editor window. So a lot of things here to go through to understand this platform in a much better way. Then another platform that we can use for Python coding and Python application development is Sublime Text. So as you can see here, we'll type in sublimetext.com. And we will go for the latest version, which is 3. So we put a /3 here. So as you can see, this is an official website for Sublime Text 3. And we have the version 3.2.1. And that is available for the different platforms. That is the operating system platforms, which is OS X, and then Windows 64-bit, and Linux repository. The other platform that we're going to see is one of the famous platforms, and it is developed by Microsoft Corporation, and this is Visual Studio, which is most commonly used for embedded system development, and also some high-end AI applications. So for that, we will go to code.visualstudio.com. So this platform is mainly for Windows. As you can see, it offers different programming languages for high-end application development. So we have Python, and then C, C++, and we also have C#. And we can also code in .NET using the .NET framework. But that is mainly used in Visual Basic in the MS Visual Studio. And for this Visual Studio code, we can use Python, and it is very easy to use. It is a kind of IDE similar to PyCharm, but it's more efficient and is like Windows OS oriented. So we can also find this Visual Studio code not only for Windows, but for other platforms, that is for other operating systems. And also, we have the Insiders Edition. As you can see, this is the stable build edition for which the download button is here. So with this Visual Studio code, we can also work with Git, and that is connecting to the GitHub. And it stores our code in a GitHub repository, and we can also access it through that. Now, the other one is Atom. So we go to the link for it. That is atom.io. So this is similar to Kite, which allows auto-completion of code. That is by suggesting the code while the user is coding in the code editor. So, as you can see, we have the latest version available. That is 1.56.0. And it is for Windows 7. Or we can use it for Windows 10 as well. So the text editor for Atom looks like this. They also offer GitHub support, as you can see here. Then the expected features of this platform is cross-platform editing, smart auto-completion. So this is similar to the Kite platform. And then you have the file system browser. And then it also allows multiple panes while coding. And we have different building package managers. And the main thing is that it is also a free platform like the other platforms that we've seen so far. So the other one we will see now is the Jupyter. So we go to jupyter.org. Okay, so this platform is mainly famous for its notebook. That is the Jupyter Notebook. So this provides us with Jupyter Lab and Jupyter Notebook. As we discussed for Spider, it's similar to the Spider platform. And the main advantage of these two platforms is that they are similar to each other and can be found together on one of the other platforms, which is Anaconda. So we will have to search for Anaconda. So we type in anaconda.com. So this is one of the biggest and majorly used IDEs, which offers different platforms together, combined. As you can see, it has Jupyter Notebook, then Spider, and the scikit-learn, and Panda. These are all the Python libraries and the platforms together, combined in this image, as you can see. So one can simply download this Anaconda IDE to use both. That is Spider and the Jupyter together if required. The main advantage of this Jupyter platform is that we can code in a particular cell. That is, we can create chunks of codes, which is more readable and understandable for the developer, as well as for the user who want to refer to the code, and also better for learning purpose. That is, the Jupyter Notebook and Spider Notebook provides a kind of organized coding in Python. And we will be using this platform in our further coming lessons. Now we'll see another one, which is pydev.org. So this is PyDev platform, and it is mainly used for Python. That is, you can develop Python and also JPython, which is also called Jython and Iron Python development. So all these things can be carried out with this platform. So this Python IDE is for the Eclipse platform, which we mainly use for Java development. So that is why it includes a combination of Java and Python. And this platform allows you to create applications for Google App Engine based on Python programming languages. So that is definitely one of the advantages of this platform. Then the last one that we will go through here is Wing Python IDE. For that, we have the website, which is wingware.com. This platform is not a free platform because it offers the paid version. So most free platform users avoid this platform usage. Okay, this platform offers different types of testing with Python. That is unit testing, PyTest, doctest, and Django framework testing. Django framework is one of the famous frameworks used in Python that is actually used for online payments. That is a developing application which deals with online payments using PayPal or Stripe. And it's one of the major uses of the Django framework for Python. So that is it. We've seen a lot of different platforms available for Python programming. And that is it for this tutorial.